That would be the name for this episode. They've given up on us.
They've given up on us. That's the way these final days.
The final days of summer school. Season 9, episode 44. I got it right this time. Season 9, episode 44, number 392. Decoder Podcast. And I still haven't fixed the other one. So who knows? It may just be a season 4 thing. I'm sure I'll change it somewhere along the way.
Or not.
Like you said, ready or not, it's happening.
What was I erasing yesterday that kind of tripped me out? I was going through my Gmail. Personal Gmail folders, just getting rid of stuff, the detritus, the digital bits and pieces that we keep. And it was kind of cool because I was at one point I paused and I realized I was traveling through old organizational systems because I could see, there'd be an email and it took me a second, like, oh, that's right. I remember why I was keeping these things. And I'm looking at the title, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember, there was some sort of purpose to it. But as I've kind of come to accept about at least my digital practices of storing and keeping things, I don't go back generally. In the same way, like, I'm not an overly nostalgic guy, but I also, like, I tell myself I need to keep this receipt. I'm like, why did I do that? It's funny. I don't think I can stop myself from necessarily keeping them. What I need instead is to have a more frequent cleanup time, like kind of take a day. Well, it doesn't take a day, but just have a day where I kind of remind myself, well, yeah, go in and clean up those folders. Anyways, where I started with this is that I came across Mad PD emails, which is a flash fire there, right? And I came across On Ed Mentors emails, version 1.0 we talked about this at the Foodapalooza, version 1.0 with Rod Neiser. And it was a moment of like, oh yeah, that's right. And then delete, plunk, got rid of it. But it's kind of funny how, back in the day, there was something satisfying about looking your storage number climbing up as you cleaned out your inboxes. But now storage is so damn cheap and they give you so much storage kind of for free. I pay for more storage on Google. I may stop, but I do. So it's sort of like of the terabyte that I pay for, like it doesn't really go less than 1%. It's not like you can take it down to 0.5% and you're like, yes, I did something. So the actual overall effect of deleting this stuff isn't as profound as it used to be. It reminds me back in the day before my school board got in bed with Google, my email would shut down because it was composite storage for my actual account with the school. It would say you can no longer send or receive emails. Everything will be kept in cache until you clear out some memory space. So all the memory space was very localized to your account. It wasn't like the way I imagine now, it's more like our benefits as teachers. It's a collective. So there's constantly space somewhere, though it might not be specifically dedicated to your account. This whole idea of dedicated memory and dedicated space it isn't like it used to be, right? So even with my school board now with the email, like I haven't got that warning in years, but I remember it. And I'd be looking at what I'd had saved. I'm like, really? I can only keep 100 emails? And then you go and you're like, oh yeah, I kept that email has like 6 photos in it. Like nothing was compressed. It was just a ton of shit. It's funny. I don't know why the hell I told you that. What was my starting point for that? It's like I just wandered off.
You just talking about kind of checking your email, cleaning up your email box. I'm not sure what led you in that direction in the first place. But
I think part of what what it's got me, the mindset that it's kind of put me in. Well, obviously, I mean, there's something about it this time of year where, like, I'll say the words, I'm in the mindset of what do I need to do to get ready for school? Does it have the same clawing effect that it used to? I mean, no, I don't think it does. It's just kind of like, it's in that zone of, it would be good if you did a little thing every once in a while. Kind of like when you look at your gas tank and there's a third left. You say, oh yeah, I should fill up. But then you kind of go, I'll let it get a little lower. So I'm in that, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like a warning. It's just like information. And then I've also been this exact same space with school where I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I don't, and I'm still okay. I'm just hustling more in that first week to kind of get stuff cleaned up and ready to go. But sort of like the first step usually is like the cleaning out of things. I guess it should be the cleaning out of things. So digitally, I started to work on that. I'll probably start to work a little bit more on that. I'm imagining there's a certain avoidance as well. And irony, because the cleaning up of things, as I said, we have so much more storage than we used to. Why bother? Like, what's the point? Like, it's just, when I log off and I retire, it's just all going to disappear anyways. Like, just let the system put that through the shredder, right? Put that account through the shredder. Do I actually need to make sure that all my receipts are just right, or the websites that I made a subscription to or a profile on? It's funny, the idea that you're actually doing something by cleaning up your digital footprint. The virtual activity is also working virtually is also kind of like a virtual activity. Like, it doesn't feel real sometimes, right? It doesn't feel real. Blah, 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 blah. I'll take a sip. You jump in.
Well, I'll start with a good morning to Gary. Thanks for joining us, Gary. Happy Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gary officially started work yesterday, so I hope you had a good first official day back, Gary.
It was cool with the Foodapalooza, because at that end of the night when you were talking with Will and I was talking with Gary, I got into it with Gary a little bit about the administrative path and kind of the demands of the system. I've been thinking a lot about that, and I realized that my thoughts on it have evolved and changed and flowed. But and afterwards I was trying to, like, what is the thing? Because Gary had a lot of when I would sort of put a thing, he would sort of do an answer. Like, when I would sort of pause it or give a reason why, yeah, I don't think admin is for me. He was really great at, like, well, I get that. And have you considered this way? He offered some interesting kind of perspectives. I'll say, Gary, I'm still firmly like in the no camp. And I think partially because I don't know how I'll say this. It was funny. What I realized, which maybe I didn't say when I was saying it there, but I think I've said it to you once or twice. The other night, Karen and I are sitting here talking. She's like, so do you have any professional goals for this year? And I said, I want to do my job so well that it reduces the amount of time that I'm actually at school. And she started laughing. I'm like, yep, I want to become so good at my actual work that I can just leave at the end of the day and not have to do any of the work when I'm at home. And on the face, does that not seem really simple? Like, really, really simple, and almost like overly cheeky, and like, really? That's your goal? Like, you could almost kind of go, whatever. But I think that capacity to operate in that way is so elite level that it's not a bad aspiration for a school year.
As you say it, I'm a little jealous because, yes, it sounds
Like, it sounds insulting. Like, it almost sounds like, really? Like, that's what you like, it sounds like you're dumb. Like,
Yes.
that's a stupid thing. But then I think if you talk to anyone who is maybe on verge of burnout or disillusionment, like they just want to change jobs, I often hear in that conversation, they feel like they just can't. Like, I look at it like skilled or unskilled. So they're sort of driving towards a skill level to be able to compartmentalize their work, to sort of leave it at work, right? So I got a nod from Karen. She's like, I get it. I said, yeah, I'm not looking to deepen my contributions anymore to the school, which I said, because the net result is that it diffuses my home time. And I want my time to be highly concentrated and in service to me. In service to me. So
As you say it, it does sound it there is something about it that doesn't sound genuine. I guess there are lots for me, there's layers.
it would depend on who I'm saying it to
And
and
but
where they are in their process, I think.
as you're saying it to me, I can appreciate it because I'm stepping into a whole new world,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be messy. It's gonna be messy, and what I mean by that is I don't like messy. I wanna have it cleaned up, but I know it can't be clean because I just don't know I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do the jobs that are gonna come my way. It's all gonna be on the job training
Mhm.
because I've already done the paperwork. Like, I've taken the courses, um, I've been given resources and asked to review them and look them over. I've done everything that they're asking me to do, but I haven't done the work, right? It's gonna get messy. There's no For me, your goal can't work for me this year.
Mhm.
If I were still doing my original job, I could see your goal as a great challenge for me
Yeah.
personally because, um, there's there's always the wild card situations that pop up at 6 PM. I might get an email and it's relatively urgent for somebody else, and I recognize that, well, it's not I don't have to do this right now, but I would do it because I would want to alleviate stress and I would want to maybe get on top of a situation. But
Mhm.
saying all that, there's an efficiency built in that I understand what to do, who to contact, how long it'll take, whether it can be done or not. There's a fluency that allows me to leave my work at school and come home and operate in a different way at home and then choose to jump in where I feel I need to help me to help somebody else. But with my new role this year, bro, the second half of life, Roland, is sitting nicely with this notion that this is going to be friggin' messy and dirty. And there's nothing I can do right now to clean any of that up. And there just isn't. I'm going to have to live in the mess until I figure out where things go, how long it takes to put them away. I just don't know. So I'm in the middle of your goal. My goal compared to your goal is step into the mess and know that it's just going to be that way for a while and be okay with that. Do my best, right? Ask a lot of questions. L- Understand I'm going to be inefficient, and that's just part of the learning. And lean on others because there's nothing else I can do. If I don't lean on other people, I'm not going to get the right answers. I'm not going to do the right things. I'm going to cause more problems for everybody involved. So there's already going to be a lot of problems because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to minimize that by talking to people, asking questions, you know, um, staying humble, right? But I think for me, I've done a good job of that the entire time I've been in this new role. I don't think I'd love to hear from other people. I don't think I'm walking around with no humility and yada yada yada. I do, but anybody who's listened to the podcast knows when I go to work, I do everything I can to get as much done as I can during the time I'm there. So I'm not coming home and working for hours. Now, when I started my job, it was, you remember, I would say it was bad. Like, I was coming home every night and saying, eating dinner with the family. And if we didn't have to go anywhere, I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to the computer room and I'm not coming out until I finish like these 5 IEPs or whatever. And after about a month and a half of that, they were looking at me like, okay, like why'd you do this to yourself? Because this isn't working. You like coming home and just eating dinner and then going upstairs and not coming out? I'm like, no, but the work's got to get done. I got to figure out how to do it. But until then, I'm not going to walk into work tomorrow 10 hours behind and just say to everybody, yeah, well, I didn't feel like working last night. I'm not going to do that. Other people might, but I wasn't going to. So your goal to a skilled professional who works hard and wants to be efficient and not have to spend their whole day working, I think it's a beautiful goal. I think people are going to look at you and they're going to be like, this guy's a cocky MF. Listen to him. He wants to do all his work, doesn't want to leave his work at school. They're going to do that, right? But I'm like, no, it takes a lot of skill and energy and fluency to be able to come home and not have to do the work because it's already done or it's on its way.
I'm not
takes
expecting
a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm not expecting for people or process to get out of my way. I think that's what's it. Like, I'm not looking to like set like a Greenland space around my work to be precious about it. What I'm aspiring to is high efficiency and high efficacy. And it also, what I'm actually leaning into, and I think what started me thinking about this, I don't remember if I shared the reel with you, but there was the individual that was talking about, I think they are creative, or maybe you shared it with me. I don't know. I think they were creative, and they were suggesting how you're supposed to talk about when someone asks for a discount on your work. And they said it kind of like the gist of what this person was saying is that it's important to remain in the conversation without, and remain in the conversation. Don't shut it down coldly. Remain in the conversation and then leverage your agenda with, keep it really sort of simple and clear about how you would negotiate the price. And their suggestion, around the, I can be flexible on pricing, absolutely, but you detach the pricing, you sort of detach pricing from product, and you say, I'm flexible on the pricing. I'm not going to compromise my work by saying I'm going to do it for less. What I'm going to say instead is, what part of my work would you like me to eliminate in order to meet what you think is a reasonable price for it? And if I switch that around as an educator, I would say, it's not where I'm going to expect people to get out of my way. I'm going to get out of other people's way. So someone might say, we're going to have a meeting, or I need to have this document. And I will put to them, or put to myself, what part of this am I not going to do in order to achieve your discounted timeline or your discounted expectations? And I really liked that. And I think that started me thinking about, as a professional, it's a very useful characteristic to understand and accept your own worth in education, and that you can sort of focus on your own worth independent of the team's worth. Because I hear that a lot, that people do things for the team. You have to do it for the team. You have to do it for the team. If that's not symbiotic, then that's just putting stuff out into the void and you never get ahead. And I hear often with, I've heard it often enough to say that I've heard it often from administrative teams, that often there is dissonance and disagreement in a professional way, but they have to show a united front. And unfortunately, I fundamentally disagree with that. And I might be suggesting something that could tear a school apart, but I think it's very important that you can have common goal and uncommon agenda to get there. So if the idea of, you have your SIP goals or whatever, and the school is driven by, your SIP goals, your school improvement plan stuff, I think it's really critical to not give the perception like everyone has to be on the exact same page to achieve the goal. I think really elegant leadership is the ability to sort of synergize individuals and allow them to remain individuals. So where I take this back to is even in spec ed, I've been in conversations where we all have to be on the same page. And what that can mean for some people is that they can go into cruise control and others have to work a lot harder to get to that page. Yet, if you just allowed them to stay on their own page, they would achieve the same goal. So for me, it's about kind of like pushing through those moments now. Someone asks me to do something, I'm not going to say, I'll get back to you. I'm going to know exactly what I'm looking to do with my time for that day. And if it doesn't jive with it, I'm going to provide what don't you want me to do? Depending on who the person is. Obviously, if they're leadership over me, I will put to them, what is it that you would not like me to do or deliver in order to achieve this thing that you're asking me to do? Because this particular thing are these 6 items, but those 6 items, if I action them, I'm not going to get to 4 of my items. So back to the original thing, how do I get my work done before I leave? And before I leave and go home, I do not want to have that as a floating marker. So I stay there till 7:30 at night, and then I tap myself on the back and I say, there you go, you got it all done before you leave. So in order to light my ass up, I'm going to make sure I have other things sort of like on the calendar that I'm looking to do after school. And, obviously my involvement with writing and photography and community theater and such, and my family. That's the stuff. So it's not keeping it between the bells. It's saying, I'm going to work towards keeping school out of my personal life. So, and it won't be easy. I'm not suggesting it'll be easy, but that's my focus. And we've done enough philosophical work over there. Like I know, let them, I'll go Mel Robbins, or say no. Like I can pull from all these little things that are reminding me of how to sort of like remind other people that that's my line. And I'll see you tomorrow. It's going to take a lot of logistical planning on my end too. In order to operate that way, I have to build in some spaciousness to accommodate things that are, because I can't rule the world on this one. And I will have people bring things to me that for whatever human reason, it did not make it into my inbox. And it actually is something that has to be done by the end of the day. I get that. So I have to build in that thinking, but I'm also building in if it's demanded. I say, okay, I am not going to do it. It's yes to this, no to something else. That's the t-shirt, right?
Well, good luck with that, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it as time goes on.
I thought you were going to give me a okay.
You didn't get that.
I didn't get the loaded okay.
But I'm a little jealous of your goal. Just because I'm not there. That's your goal is not something, it's not a reality for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to make that my goal. But man, now that we're talking about this stuff, I have to say how proud I am of myself. This would have driven me crazy years ago. This understanding what I'm walking into would have driven me nuts. Now it's like, nah, man, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it. And for every time something comes across my way and I have to take a deep breath of like, oh God, this is going to be a gong show in terms of like energy expenditure to understand and all the people I'm going to have to collaborate and communicate with to figure out what to do with certain things or how to do them. Just take a deep breath and be like, okay, well, there's a first for everything. This is my first time doing this. This is my first time dealing with that. There'll be a collection of firsts that will repeat themselves. And then there's going to be a collection of one-time, one-shot situations where it's like nobody's ever seen that before and it's landed in your lap. So you got to deal with it.
All true.
All true.
All true. We got our first couple emails from our principal talking about our PA days. It's all that compliance training coming in.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have not heard
Yearly.
anything about that.
Oh, really?
No, and I'm sure I know the administrators have a meeting on Tuesday, so I'm
Mhm.
sure they're gonna be really in the know on what is supposed to be happening the next
it
week when teachers are all back.
Is it for all Ontario now that so there's the mandate of school boards having to present their PA day agendas to
The public, right?
family, the
Oh,
public, yeah. And I think I'm guessing it must be 2 weeks out. Like it must be,
oh, then I guess I could find that and figure out what it is. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
2 weeks
But
out.
there is something like that. So often what it's kind of pushing is it has, I'm imagining, pushed admin to, well, if we have to push it out to system, then we might as well push it out to staff too. I
Oh,
mean, there's a lot of euphemistic language in there about what we're doing. You sort of read it and you're like, okay, that's a space keeper. That's space keeper language, um, for activities that have not quite yet been firmed up, and that's fine. But it's fascinating to get we get the inside from the school board, and then we also get the copy as a parent. So the one that comes to your personal email. So sometimes I read that, I'm like, that's funny the way they wrote that, or the way that's sort of itemized, because I know that on the inside it's just edubabble. It's a little bit of edubabble.
What else do you want to hit today? You want to talk about our kids leaving our homes? Just
Mhm.
around the idea that I was in Guelph on Thursday with my oldest, dropping stuff off at his apartment, and I was telling you that today I'm sore. I'm sore from the lifting and my body moving in ways that it doesn't normally move, and
Mhm.
muscles that I didn't know I had in my body that are now sore. And the poor kid is like, the kid's feeling it too. But I just shook my head and said to him, I like, and I wasn't gassed, like I wasn't completely destroyed, but I was like, I was feeling my age. I was like, oh, yeah, at this age, most people don't move the same way they used to when they were 20 years old. So I was saying to my son, I'm like, yo, I don't want to hear you talk about you're sore and you're tired, because if you look at my situation, I did all the same stuff you did, and I'm, 30 years older than you are. So it's something to consider. But I was thankful for some of the things I do to try to stay or be in shape, because, man, I did a lot of stair work, lots of stairs, and looking at all these young people, I just shaking my head. Like, it's wild, man. I'm looking at these people and I'm like, look at these kids. Like, I was looking at these other students moving in and I was like, they're all just kids.
Mhm.
And they're living by themselves and they're feeding themselves. I had a moment. It was interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, we're sort of like, I'm a year behind in your process. So with mine going off this year, and we're still in the all the kind of it's just the logistics of having a branch office. It's like we're franchising, right? We're franchising. So, the product that we've looked to develop here, and when I say product, air quotes, but like the character, the values, the morals, the sort of mindset, the wellness, how does that translate to now our Peterborough franchise? Will they be able to sort of maintain the operating system and the rules of engagement that we were able to um, reinforce by all living under the same roof? So I'm not even really, whatever happens with the learning is almost a completely separate. It's an entirely separate part of our thinking, and it may or may not be curriculum that my kid likes. I mean, there's always that possibility. Like there are so many big set pieces to this moment that to say that we have confidence that they're all going to work well together is to betray the fact that this moment in life is a rite of passage. It is chaotic. It is to try and say that you've made it watertight is to just, for me, in a lot of ways, to say it's watertight and everything is perfectly set is just a recipe for disaster, because there's always going to be something that's going to become complicated about, well, life in general, but sort of even getting to this other life. Yeah, as of September last year, after we went to a campus tour at Trent, I joined the Facebook parent group, and that's been great. It's been absolutely great. The sharing of the information, someone finds something out, it just blasts through there, and everyone kind of like, okay, gets back on point. I'm sad for anyone that is just now kind of waking up on a Friday, like, oh, like some of the questions that are being asked right now in the chat. It's fantastic. People are answering them. But I also, because I've worked through them, I automatically say, ooh, like that. It would have been better if you had started thinking about this back in April. And then people kind of give hacks and solutions on how to get there. So I've appreciated being there, joining a year ahead of time. So useful. So useful to hear people talking about their experiences of going into school last year, because some of the stuff is the same. So I've had some time to think about it. That's good. So yeah, I'm looking at it like setting up a branch office. We're franchising our family. One of our members is going to start a life away from the bubble, and we'll see what that looks like. Will it look familiar when I go to visit? Will it have some of the philosophies are still there? Will there be things that I just don't understand? Like, why are you doing this? And of course, I'm allowed to have a disagreement, but I also have to make sure that I'm not standing in the way of them figuring things out, because that's a big part of it too. So my kid is going to be like in apartment living with they're able to pick a friend. So there's a friend from school that's going there, that's one of their roommates, and then there's two randoms that they're coming into. The two randoms don't know each other. They took the room. So we'll see how that plays out. And I say that because I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their own sort of lockable rooms, and then there's a common space in the kitchen, and there's laundry right in there as well, which is handy. So on to independent living, dude.
Yeah, man, on to independent living. I get it. I understand. Like you said, I'm a year ahead in terms of like this branch office opening up and the kid living with other strangers around, not knowing exactly how it plays out, but giving it a go, doing what they need to do to figure it out. The other day when we were done moving in, my son wanted to go to the campus store, and so we started our walk to the university, and my favorite part was letting him lead the way. Like he was, as we were approaching the university, I was like, hey, tell me about like when you're around here, where do you eat? What do you do? And I'm saying I let him. I didn't let him, but he started explaining his process. He started explaining, he was revisiting the year before with stories around, oh, and then, yeah, I remember when I was in this building, this happened or whatever. And I was very aware of this moment. So I just shut my mouth and I just let him talk. I didn't ask any questions. I had lots of questions, but I just let him kind of lead. And it was fun. It was fun to hear about these situations and stories that he's never told us about, right? But when we were in the university center and we were getting something to eat, he was like, "Hey, this is where, remember some of those meals I was telling you about that were so good, so special. This is where it was made," and yada yada yada. And I'm just listening, because I said, I'm hungry and thirsty. I got to get something. And so he, without knowing, he talked to me about his process. Like, he's like, "Okay, well, let's go here." And then he shook his head. He's like, "Man, I spent a lot of my breakfasts here." And I was just, whoosh, shut your mouth. Don't say anything. Just listen. And I got to go down memory lane with him, which was really awesome because he was telling me things he's never told me or his mom before.
Mhm.
Like, we didn't really know his morning routine. We knew he was in class, but we didn't know where he ate, what he ate,
Mhm.
if he ate. And he was like, "No, I would stop here and this line would be crazy long. So I just go over to this section." And he kind of was like, "Don't tell anybody, but over here, they have like a quick bite section where you can just grab and go." So I would grab a couple of these things and go sit over here, eat it, check my socials, and then go to class. I'm like, okay. Don't ask. Just keep listening, Roland. Don't ask. Just keep listening. Soak up as much of it as you can. That was cool for me because I think you recall last year there were the middle of the night phone calls,
Yep.
with issues, and it's like, man, what went right today? You never We were too busy in crisis mode and not in, you did 30 things right and one thing didn't really go well. We can work through that, you know?
I get that.
I
And
oh,
and I don't know what my version of that will be,
right.
but I'm sure I will get a version of that. So some of the combos that have happened, like my kid just kind of cheekily saying that she would FaceTime every day. Mhm. We'll see. We'll
That's
see. And what
yeah,
happens when it doesn't happen, right? Like, what
right,
do you
right.
do?
What happens when it doesn't happen?
Right? The whatever panic sets in. I don't, which I don't, I'm not saying, but it is kind of funny.
No, I totally understand. I would I'd be sitting at my computer at work at like 1:15 and my phone's going off and he's wanting to FaceTime me. And I'm like, so I turn it on. I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "What are you doing?" "I'm at work." "What do you mean, what am I doing?" "I'm at work." He goes, "Yeah, but like, I said, "This is my e-learn time. I'm doing this right now. What's up?" And I'm thinking, uh-oh, like, what does this phone call mean? Does it mean like at 2 o'clock I'm getting in my car and I'm driving to Guelph for something? And sometimes it was just, "Hey, I thought I had a minute. I thought I'd give you a call. I can't call mom because she's working." I'm working too, kid. It just looks differently. Or sometimes it was, "Hey, can I get a little bit of money for this?" Or, "This is happening tonight, so I thought I'd call you now." It's something. It was different, but it was good. It was a successful year and lots of learning. Um, um, the branch office was fine. So hopefully this year's branch office is fine too. I'm
It's
looking
awesome.
forward to hearing things from your perspective, your experience,
Mhm.
and what your daughter decides to tell you and, share with you or whatnot. Um, it'll be interesting to hear your perspective on things. And it's funny because as we're talking about this, Gary's been through all this,
Yep.
right? So Gary's probably sitting at home chuckling here and there because both his kids went through. They're both done. They're both done their initial. They may be jumping into more education, but he's been here, the moving out of the house, moving back into the house, probably the telephone calls of issues and non-issues and no calls, too many calls, all that stuff. I'm in a different world. When I went away for school, I didn't call my parents every day.
Nor
There was
nor
no
did I.
FaceTime or anything. I had a telephone. And if I wanted to talk to them, I would. And I didn't really need to talk to them. I didn't feel like I was on my own. I felt like there was no calling them with problems or issues. I guess that's the difference between how I was raised and how my kids are raised. There was none of that. I didn't call my parents and be like, yo, I remember having a situation with a professor. I was really bothered with one of my instructors. When that happens today, both of my kids come to us and talk about it. I never talked to my parents about that stuff. I just dealt with it. Probably talked to a couple of my friends about it or whatever, but that was it. Now I hear everything. My wife loves that. And I'm like, sometimes some of the things my kids say, I'm like, that's like an in your head conversation. That's not something you present to your parents. And then my
Thank you,
wife,
but no. Thank
and
you,
my
but
wife's
no.
like, no, no, you don't say that to them. I'm like, hun, she's like, it's better we get it all than get none. And I'm like, but some of the things they're saying, I struggle with hearing it. That's all. Probably because of the way I was raised. I don't know, but
Of course.
I can't even share some of these things here on the Decoded podcast with our millions of listeners.
No, of course
Can't
not.
even share.
But but the sentiment makes sense. I get it. I totally get it. Um, I think I've kind of learned to not categorize it too quickly. Just take it in as either story or information, right? Okay. Thanks. Thanks. And I think I've become a better dad for that, allowing it to sort of sit in kind of like just kind of float for a bit. And it's probably, well, better dad, better human, because to rush too quickly to make it good or bad, or rush too quickly to kind of put it into a certain folder sometimes means that I don't, I don't fully immerse in it, right? Or I might miss like what you're saying, um, that my kid's actually sharing with me. They're sort of like, this is how they roll. And the fact that he would just, your kid would reach out in the middle of the day. That's what that's a possibility with individuals. Well, that's summer style. Like right now, I would reach out to you at any time of day, whether I would call or whatever. Not necessarily, but I would drop something into your day, and the only difference is you would make the decision as to whether or not this is an hour later moment. I
Mhm.
get it with family when they reach out. There's a little bit more personal pressure to respond, just in case, right? Like, so it can be kind of funny when it's just like, hey, what's up? I was bored. It's I can reverse it because I can remember when my dad got his first mobile phone, and I would call him in the middle of the day. He's like, "Why are you calling me right now? I'm in a meeting." I'm like, "Well, then don't answer your phone." At
I
the
remember
time, though,
I remember you telling
uh,
me that you'd call your
yeah,
dad in the middle of the
yeah,
day, in the middle of
yeah,
work.
I would do it all the time. It became a game afterwards. But in the first time, what I now understand from a dad's perspective is that when the call comes through, you have to answer, and
Mm.
then you get pissed for when it's for nothing. So
Yes.
it's the two parts. You answer, and then you're pissed, and then right, and then you try and sort of like kindly back out of it. Okay, fine. I'll call you later. Bye. So I
Yeah,
get both sides of it.
I've had a couple of those. You're calling me for this right now? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, really? Or there's nothing. It's just I'm just calling, and it's like, but I'm in the middle of this right now. I
Mhm.
can't talk the way you want to talk right now. But you're right. You go into like dad mode, parent mode, where you don't say that, but you're thinking, are you really talking to me about this right now? Because I'm in the middle of something way deeper, and you're just shooting the shit. Well, it's nice to have the option when your kid has a moment to shoot the shit and they still want to do that with you.
Yes, that's the gift.
That's the gift, right? So I messaged one of my guidance counselor colleagues yesterday and just said, "Hey, um, when I learned that I was going to be in guidance, I had a meeting and I was told that the guidance staff comes into school before it starts to do some things." So I said, "Being new, would you mind sharing with me when this happens and what the unofficial expectation might be?" And he got back to me and he said, "There is no expectation that you do this, but traditionally, this is what we've done," which was great because I was like, okay, so it's funny too because he said that, "Oh, we go in and we do this, this, and this," and I'm like, I don't know how to do or what to do for this, this, and this. So I wrote back and said, "Thanks for letting me know. I will be coming in, and I guess I'm going to be bothering you guys and gals because what what is standard operating procedure for you before the summer ends and school starts is not standard operating procedure for me." So I engaged with that last night just to see, like, because we're allowed back in effective Monday. Our fobs unlock the school doors again. So I'm like, when do you guys go in the first week or do you go in the second week? He's like, it's mostly the second week we go in. But I'll go in this week and I'll check in. I'll see if the spot I'm supposed to be working in is available for me to move into. If anybody's even considered that I'm supposed to be in a spot. I
Mhm.
know my principal, I talked to my former principal and he said that he had his not his wishes, but like he is communicated to certain people in the building where I'm supposed to be, what his vision was for where I would work out of. And so I'm going to head in this week to try to nail that down. So I'm not wasting my time the next week, the second week, trying to figure that out. It's like, no, I'll get in there and be like, hey, where am I supposed to be? And can we start talking to the people responsible for, like, I don't know, is there a desk in the room where I'm supposed to work? If there isn't, can we get
Mhm.
one? Is there a computer in there? If not, can we please get one in there? Like, there are things I need to do the work. So I'll go in this week and see if I can help move that stuff along, and then we'll see if people are interested in assisting me with that or not. And what I mean by
Mhm.
that is, oh, you need to talk to the computer guy about that. And then I talk to the computer guy, and he says, "I'm swamped, man. I'll get to it when I can." Okay, and then go back to guidance and figure out if there's a spot where I can sit and work. If the spot I'm supposed to work in is not available, because this is all reality. This is how the system works. People
Mhm.
do what they need to do on their timeline. They don't care about other people's timelines.
No.
So I'll start putting a bug in people's ear this week so that the second week, hopefully, I have what I need to do it. And if I don't, then I guess I'll find a spot. I'll figure out how to do what I need to do and go from there.
I may go in next week. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure. I haven't thought it through as far as when it would be most useful for me to be in there. So I have to consider that. I have to consider when is it most beneficial to me being in there. And if I'm trying to optimize my productivity, that's what I'm trying to figure. I know next week Karen's got a bunch of stuff going on. So she's deep into work mode. So I'll see if I can parallel that just so that when she's not working, we can hang out more.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I don't know what that looks like for my wife and I. Right? She's more on autopilot than I am, just because she's going back to something she had already set up last year. But it takes time to get a elementary classroom ready for the kids, and she knows what works for her, and so you establish that, and then you see if it's working or not for the kids, and you go from there. And there's other things happening too in the house, like we have some basement stuff going on. My car, I got to take my car into the shop this week to get some work done. So it's funny, school starts up, but there's still outside of school life that doesn't stop moving. And then it's like, oh, I got to find time to make all that stuff work because, for example, without a car, I'm not going to work. So that needs to be dealt with. And house stuff needs to be dealt with. And then I got to remember I got 2 kids, right? I just said to my younger son yesterday, I'm like, do you need new uniform pants? And he says, no, I don't need new uniform pants. When I know full well he does. The pants he has are like, they are torn. He looks like a castaway on an island. That's how worn they are. He's like, no, I don't need new pants. I'm like, oh my God. Your mom says you do, and I think you do too. I'm like, do you have uniform shorts? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, great. That'll buy us some time because you won't be wearing pants right away. But it's hilarious. His pants are literally, he looks like a castaway and he doesn't care. He's like, oh, I'm wearing my uniform. I'm like, yeah, but you need new pants. So there's all that stuff too that starts to, life continues, except the only difference is I don't have all day to deal with life now, right? I only have 5 to 9 instead of 9 to 5. Small price to pay though, right?
Yep.
I just had a summer off and I did enjoy every minute of this summer so far. It's not over yet. It's not over. But like you said, ready or not, no matter.
Don't matter. Do it. Do it.
Anything else before we end this episode of Summer School?
Nope. That's all I got. That's all I got. We'll start getting. Actually, the dog hasn't reacted yet. She's chilling on the couch just over there.
I haven't heard from the dog at all today.
Yeah.
Are you in your living room by the kitchen?
It's the TV room, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically. Just it's easier to kind of camp out here.
And you still no family's awake yet?
No.
Oh,
well, I don't know. Might be.
But they're not down there.
Yeah, Karen might be sort of she might be sort of starting to get together. She was hanging out with a friend last night, so she might be sleeping in.
I just thought it was a little risque that you're literally podcasting in the hub of your home.
I know, the heart, the core.
The heart,
Nobody's down here. The kids won't be down here yet, so.
Oh, my kids, if I don't, I won't see them for a while still.
Yeah, it's like that around here too.
I heard them last night when I was tossing and turning in the middle of the night. I could hear them. I'm like, oh, yeah, these guys.
I bet.
These guys. Okay, dude. Well,
off we go.
Thanks for spending time today. Have fun. You've got your Foundations Fest this evening. It's a big. I'm going to call it a big deal for you. And
Yep.
for you, it's probably made just another Saturday at the theater, but it's a big deal. It's a big thing that you've been working towards putting together for a year. Has it been a year-long project or no?
14 months.
Okay, over a year.
Yeah, because we sort of pitched it. I pitched it in June, late May, June, and then we started to, like, a year ago, and then we started to put some pieces together, and then the heavy lifting started in September. So, and now we go through those 11 months, and now we're like August, end of August. So
Comes to fruition today.
comes to fruition.
Well, good luck. Have fun.
Thanks, buddy.
And have a great week, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be connecting. So,
Gary, thanks for hanging live. And for anybody else checking this out, thanks for joining us. This was season 9, episode 44, number 392 of the Decoded Podcast. We'll catch you later. Peace.
peace.